I had always believed in the mystique of the desert, the endless expanse of golden sand, stretching as far as the eye could see, hiding secrets beneath its surface. But nothing could have prepared me for the truth buried beneath the sun-scorched earth of the Middle Eastern desert. My name is Amir, and I had come to this ancient land of mystery, not as a tourist, but as an investigator. It was 2003, and I had just been hired by an international archaeological institute to look into a strange and unsettling disappearance. An entire team of archaeologists had vanished without a trace while excavating a long-forgotten ruin deep in the heart of the desert. The site, known only as Al-Qabr, was rumored to be the burial ground of a long-lost sultan. But it wasn't just the ruin that had drawn the archaeologists' attention. It was the whispers, the strange, inexplicable sounds that locals swore they heard coming from the sands at night. Sounds that no one could explain. Some called it the wind, others called it ghosts. I arrived in the small desert town nearest to Al-Qabr under the cover of darkness. The air was thick with dust, and the faint smell of burning incense hung in the air. The town was smaller than I'd expected, consisting of little more than a few stone houses and a bustling marketplace where traders peddled spices, fabrics, and artifacts. The locals looked weary, as though the desert itself had drained their spirits, leaving them hollow. As I approached the hotel where I was to stay, I noticed the locals' weary gazes following me. The sun had just set, and the eerie calm that settled over the town made it seem like the desert was holding its breath. Inside the hotel, I met with my contact, a man named Tariq, the head of the excavation project. Tariq was a heavy-set man, his face lined with age, his eyes tired but sharp. His grip was firm when we shook hands, but there was an unease about him. "You've come to find the truth," Tariq said, his voice low, almost a whisper. "But I warn you, Amir, some truths are better left buried." I tried to laugh it off, but his words stayed with me. I was used to solving mysteries, used to piecing together fragments of truth that others couldn't see. But this was different. This was no ordinary case. The next morning, Tariq and I set out for the ruins. We drove for hours, the landscape stretching on endlessly, broken only by the occasional sand dune. The sun was already beating down, and the heat shimmered off the horizon. As we neared Al-Qabr, I began to notice something strange. The landscape was eerily quiet. No animals, no birds, just the sound of the wind and the crunch of tires on sand. When we finally reached the site, I felt an oppressive heaviness in the air. The ruins stood before me, crumbling stone walls half buried in the sand. The excavation site was abandoned, the tools left behind as if the workers had fled in the middle of their task. There were no signs of life, no tents, no equipment, just the broken remnants of what once must have been a grand structure. The place felt wrong. Tariq led me to a large stone doorway that had once been the entrance to a grand tomb. The door was cracked open, as if something had forced its way inside. As we entered, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The first thing that struck me was the smell, musty and stale, as if the air had not been disturbed for centuries. The walls inside were covered in strange markings, symbols that I couldn't decipher, some of which looked almost like ancient scripts, others resembling crude drawings of animals and faces. But it wasn't the markings that caught my attention. It was the floor. The ground was uneven, and as I walked over it, I noticed the faint outline of something beneath the dirt. Something large. "We found something," Tariq said, his voice filled with reverence. "Something that could change everything we know about this place." We dug for hours, uncovering a massive stone sarcophagus buried deep beneath the floor. The sarcophagus was adorned with gold, but it was cracked, the carvings worn down by centuries of sand and dust. As we carefully removed the top, I felt a chill sweep through me. Inside, there was no body, just a hollow, dark space. I couldn't explain it. The sarcophagus had been sealed for centuries. There should have been something inside, bones, mummies, anything. But there was nothing. Then, something happened that I will never forget. As I leaned over the empty sarcophagus, I heard a sound, a whisper. It was soft at first, barely audible, like a breeze passing through the cracks in the stones. But then it grew louder, clearer. The voice seemed to come from inside the tomb itself. It was a man's voice, speaking in a language I didn't understand. Tariq must have heard it too, because he froze, his face drained of color. "What is that?" I asked, my voice trembling. Tariq didn't answer. He was staring at the sarcophagus, his hands trembling. It's the voice of the sultan," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "The one who was buried here. The one who disappeared." At first I thought it was the wind, or my mind playing tricks on me. But then, I heard it again, clearer this time. And then, the ground beneath our feet trembled. A low rumble like thunder echoed through the ruins. The whispers grew louder, rising in pitch, until it sounded as if 1,000 voices were speaking at once, all from the darkness beneath us. I backed away, my heart racing. Tariq didn't move. He seemed mesmerized, his eyes wide, his lips murmuring something under his breath. I tried to grab his arm, to pull him away, but as I touched him, the whispering stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. It was then that I saw it. In the corner of my eye, something moved. A figure, shadowy and indistinct. I spun around, but there was nothing there. Only the ruins and the heavy silence that followed. We left the site quickly after that. I had a strange feeling that we weren't meant to be there, that whatever lay beneath that sarcophagus had been waiting for us. Tariq said nothing as we drove back to town, his face pale, his hands gripping the steering wheel with white knuckles. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the sarcophagus, the whispers filling my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me, something I couldn't understand. The next morning, Tariq was gone. His room was empty, his belongings scattered across the floor as if he had been taken in the night. There was no sign of struggle, no indication of where he had gone. But something told me that he hadn't left. The whispers returned. As I searched the town for any clue to Tariq's disappearance, I learned something chilling. The locals spoke of a curse that had followed the Sultan's tomb for centuries. The voices, they said, weren't just whispers. They were the voices of those who had come before, those who had tried to uncover the secrets of the tomb. They said that once you hear the whispers, you become part of the desert, a part of the Sultan's curse. And if you listened long enough, you would never leave. I had been warned, but I didn't listen. The truth is, the whispers are still with me. In my dreams, in the stillness of the desert, I can hear them. Thousands of voices calling my name, pulling me back to the sands. I don't know if I'll ever escape, but I know one thing. Whatever happened to Tariq, whatever ancient force is buried beneath the ruins, it's waiting for me. And it's waiting for you too.